Gene Deal just dropped another major bomb, and this time, it's about what Netflix allegedly refused to show the world. According to Gene, there were stories so serious and so explosive that they never made it into 50 Cent's Diddy documentary. And now, Gene says he knows exactly why those parts were left out.
I told him what we was bringing to the table, who was going to tell a story, how they was going to tell a story. You know, I didn't know exactly what they were going to say, but I knew Tim grew up with Puff, so he can get the childhood thing. So I'm going and telling him the whole angle in which I would like for this to go. You know what I'm saying? What we was bringing to the table. It fell through because the lady was telling me what somebody else didn't give me or what somebody else didn't pay me, and she was being disrespectful. You know what I'm saying?
When 50 Cent sold his Diddy documentary to Netflix for millions, many people expected Gene Deal to be front and center. Gene wasn't just a random voice, he was Diddy's personal bodyguard during the peak bad boy years and had a front row seat to everything. The East Coast, West Coast tension. The night Tupac was shot. The night Biggie was killed. If anyone carried real, first-hand stories, it was Gene. But when the documentary dropped, Gene was nowhere to be found. No interviews. No archival footage. Nothing. And that absence immediately raised eyebrows. Around the same time, Netflix released a series packed with never-before-seen footage of Diddy in the days leading up to his arrest, private moments, candid conversations, behind-the-scenes clips that quickly made headlines. Diddy even threatened legal action over some of that footage. But according to Gene, what Netflix chose to show wasn't the full truth. Not even close.
They showed pictures of different people that was no longer, but they was instrumental in the Bad Boy. They couldn't even tell the real Bad Boy story. How Puff and them got their money, got started and stayed in the game before Clyde Davis. You understand what I'm saying? Because they didn't have the pictures, they didn't have the person to deliver the story. You know what I'm saying? Bad Boy got their start with Corey Jacobs. Corey Jacobs, a dude you see next to Puff before he went to jail the whole 9 yards. Corey Jacobs went to jail for drug distribution and transporting narcotics, and he got 9, 16 to life sentences. You know what I'm saying? So he was pardoned by Obama. His money and Wolf money is the money that started Bad Boy. You know what I'm saying? To keep Big, you know, when he let Big go, when Andre Harrell don't let Big them go, and Craig Mackman, Puff had to get money to keep them there. You understand what I'm saying? Before he can go make the deal with Clyde Davis. So what he do? He take their money to piece Big them off for some money before he makes his deal. You understand what I'm saying? So they couldn't even tell that story. That's a good story.
Gene finally broke his silence on why he never appeared in the documentary. At first, he was working with the production team. They wanted his footage, his photos, and his first-hand accounts. But everything changed after a conversation with the director, Alex Stapleton. According to Gene, she told him straight up that 50 Cent didn't control the budget, or what ultimately made it into the final cut. When Gene heard what they were offering for his material, he felt completely disrespected. He says he had rare footage, real evidence, and stories no one else could tell. To him, they were offering pocket change for information worth millions. So instead of playing along, Gene made a decision. He walked away.
You understand? Because I was talking to the producers, and before I talked to the executive director, and the producers knew, I was telling them what I was bringing to the table, because I was trying to get a deal for me, Kirk, and Tim all together, like a package deal. I wanted to try to get like 50,000 for each one of us. You know what I'm saying? So I told them what we was bringing to the table, who was going to tell a story, how they was going to tell a story. You know, I didn't know exactly what they were going to say, but I knew Tim grew up with Puff, so he can get the childhood thing. So I'm going and telling them the whole angle in which I would like for this to go. You know what I'm saying? What we was bringing to the table. I didn't know how they was going to do it, but I was saying, this is what we're going to bring to the table. Tim could start off with the childhood part of it because they grew up together. That's Tim Dog, Tim Patterson, Also, you know, he was the one who was working at Uptown. He was executive over there of A&R and all that other stuff. He went to Island Records. He used to work with over there at Arista, the whole 9 yards. Tim is the one who had the Lost Boys. If you remember the Lost Boys, yeah, you know what I'm saying. Tim was the manager of them. That was his group and everything like that. So Tim had a lot of inside and a lot of stuff to do with Puff. I had a lot of other people I could have brought to the table too. Eddie F, who taught Puff how to work the board and everything like that. Just Eddie F, Heavy D, and the boys DJ. I was gonna try to get Eddie and some other people like that, but it fell through because the lady was telling me what somebody else didn't give me or what somebody else didn't pay me, and she was being disrespectful. You know what I'm saying?
But now Gene says money wasn't the only reason he was left out. He claims the documentary also stripped out key pieces of evidence, details that could have completely changed how people understand the entire story. One of the biggest examples: the so-called East Coast versus West Coast War. According to Gene, that narrative is flat out wrong. He says it was never really East versus West. Artists from both sides were still traveling, collaborating, and showing each other love behind the scenes. The real conflict, Gene claims, was between two powerful record labels, Bad Boy and Death Row. And at the center of it all were two names, Diddy and Suge Knight.
So you have some people that say that Tupac, he was the one behind the beef between Death Row and Bad Boy. And you got some people that say that, you know, the beef between Death Row and Bad Boy started when Big J got killed. But from your point of view, when did the tension and beef start between Death Row and Bad Boy?
All the tension started between Puff and Suge Knight. You understand? All the tension came from Puff and Suge Knight. Suge wanted Puff to have Big them do a show. Puff wanted to get paid for Big doing the show. But Suge had did a whole lot of shit, free shit for Puff at one time. Cause when Puff used to come out to California, before he could afford security, before he could afford that, Suge used to look out for the cat. You understand what I'm saying? So now it became they bullshit. Then when Suge bought Misa out there, you understand? When Suge bought Misa out there and talk about what the East Coast won't take care of, the West Coast will, then Jake, you know, Jake being killed by Jason. You understand? And they making that bullshit up like Bad Boy has something to do with it. All that shit was over women. And niggas being emotional like women. That's what it was all about. It was over women. Jake disrespecting Jason girl. You understand, wife? Suge disrespecting Misa, Puff's baby mama, and them niggas being emotional like women. A lot of niggas is behind bars based on their emotions. And them niggas is right where they at because of their emotions. People have lost their lives over the way a nigga felt. So, that's what the East Coast, West Coast shit started off.